Well, it's good to see you guys here. I'm really excited about it. It really starts taking shape when you come into the league meetings. And now the other three coaches are here. When we brought in our offense and defensive coordinators, and we got heavy into the planning phase of it. I guess you say, what is it about the United Football League? Say two words: James Harrison. Say two words: Kurt Warner. Say two words: Robert Griffith. These were all players who were not invited to the combine, were not drafted by the National Football League, were cut or couldn't even get into training camp, and through stubbornness and determination, found a way somehow to work their way onto somebody's team in some way or form or another, and then once given a chance to play, showed that they truly could be great players and wound up going to Pro Bowls. And that's the story of a lot of players in the National Football League. We understand this. The college game is a great game. I spent 16 years in college football. I spent 8 years as a college football coach. The college fan many times is amazed at the players who don't make it to the National Football League. An atmosphere is created that says, wow, those guys must really be good. And they are. They must really be good if that particular player doesn't make it. But every now and then you get a James Harrison comes along, and he probably doesn't make it because he's a 6-foot linebacker. Because most people say, well, geez, I thought he was better than some other guy who happened to be a 6'2" or 6'3" linebacker, and they were right. And somewhere along the way, James Harrison got a chance to get a break, or the Kurt Warner got a chance to get his break, and he proved he was absolutely correct. Why for me now? Well, it's exciting for me. I'm 30, I coached 34 years in the league. I'm 60 years old, and I call this kind of the opportunity league for guys that are high energy, whether you're 35 years old or 60 years old, for players that are looking for an opportunity to prove that they can play in the National Football League and still say, well, I didn't get a chance, and now they can come play for us in the United Football League. For assistant coaches, we'll each have basically 10 assistant coaches. That's 40 assistant coaches. Virtually every one of them have National Football League experience and a lot of college experience also. I mean, all of us come together to take this one basic premise, which is that we can get coaches with experience who know what they're doing and love to coach the game, that we can get players, of which some, as you know, are going to be guys with experience in the National Football League, because in the National Football League, you get to that third and fourth year, and a lot of players don't make it after, and they get replaced by another younger player. You've also seen players on a lot of rosters that were late-round draft picks. Doesn't have to be Tom Brady. It can be a lot of other guys who are late-round picks and barely make it and get their opportunity. So those opportunities will present itself in the United Football League. And then also it comes down to the cities, that Las Vegas does not have a National Football League team. Los Angeles doesn't have a National Football League team. New York, the state of New York, has one team. That is the Buffalo Bills. The New York Giants and New York Jets play in New Jersey. They don't have anybody in that east side of New York. Orlando in Florida, they don't have a professional team in Orlando. And so we're going to be able to bring football to those areas with players that are very much recognizable from the high school days to the college days, and then present some exciting football. So, we really feel good about it. The next aspect is just good old-fashioned competition. That Jim Foster and I worked together in the old days. We coached against each other in the National Football League. Jim Haslett and I, we coached against each other in the National Football League. We've gone against Ted Cottrell and his defenses many times in the National Football League. So you've got 4 guys that have coached against each other, a great deal of respect for each other, but as always, you want to go and be in a competitive situation and win. So that's the really kind of ultimate reason. If you've got that kind of energy, which I do, and you want to get out there and get out there and work it and get it done, then now's the time to do it. Any questions?
Dennis, what's the biggest challenge about starting from scratch? The place you coached before you inherited something and tweaked it.
Right. I think just going with those players, and and with that, what it means is that we know this. There are over 800 players that played, college football. There were maybe 400 invited to the combine, and about 250 of those guys will be drafted. We also know this, that right now, and you'll see it, there are going to be players that were on rosters last year that became free agents either by being released at the end of the year or by not being pure free agents. And their agent tells them right now, this team wants to wait. Players got 4 years in the league. He can't even get a minimum contract. This year, this player's got to wait. At this time last year, this player would be Dante Culpepper. At this time last year, this player would be Byron Leftwich. Two guys that couldn't get signed before the draft. Two guys that the agent said, hey, now it's before the draft. It doesn't happen. We got to wait till after the draft. It didn't happen for Byron or Dante. They waited until training camp. It still didn't happen. 2 first-round picks, 2 pretty good players. They waited all the way into the season. Byron finally got picked up. Dante finally got picked up. Byron just signed a multi-year contract, pretty good money. Dante's probably going to be the starter for Detroit. What happens? Just nature of the National Football League. But there are going to be players out there. So the challenge for us will be starting from scratch and recognizing that there are going to be players that fall through the cracks. And we now have to just evaluate those players and get what you want. Don't take a player unless you really believe in him, because I might like this guy and Ted might like that guy. And that always happens in the National Football League. And then when you get those guys, really coach them up with some experienced coaches. Yes?
Coach, are you excited to be on the ground floor or something like this?
I really am, simply because it's new and I believe in it. See, I never believed in spring football. I think Americans like baseball in the spring, they like basketball in the winter and playoffs in the spring, and they like their football in the fall. And so there's plenty of room for high school football, there's plenty of room for college football, there's plenty of room for the United Football League, and there's plenty of room for the National Football League, there's plenty of room for the Canadian Football League, simply because we have so many players that love to play the game, that have the ability to play the game, and that come on and play. And that's why you have so many guys that do well that are not drafted, and that's also why you have so many guys that get drafted in the first round that don't turn out very well. I mean, it is not that much of an exact science. No matter what you'll hear about the draft this weekend, a certain percentage of those guys, it's not going to work out. No matter what you hear about the guy where you wanted to be drafted, you thought would be drafted and didn't, and you say, you know what, I will not be surprised if that guy does a major roster and start, and they probably do. We're going to have some access to developing those kind of players and proving that the premise is true, which is there are more coaches for spots than there are spots available. That's a fact. We've proven it now for the assistant coaches, for head coaches. There are more players that can play on a professional level, on the top-notch professional level, than there are spots available. It's been proven time and time again with all kind of players in the National Football League.
Dennis, will the contracts be set up so that the NFL won't be able to just pick somebody off the roster during the season?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's professional football. And so we could not go get a player from a National Football League player unless he was available. The National Football League couldn't take a player from us unless he was available. He's under contract. Be the same thing with the Canadian Football League. I mean, this is professional football. These are contracts. Our fans deserve to see the best players that we can possibly put on the field, and we're going to do everything to develop them and showcase them.